Welcome to the virtual college fair. Thank you for joining us. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. Your camera and microphone are off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. This is just one of many different sessions happening, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. This presentation is being recorded and will be available within about a week at the same website where you registered. And now I'd like to turn it over to our presenters from College of Wooster.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today. We are really excited that you're here for our Worcester 101 session and to learn more about the College of Worcester. There are actually three of us, even though you may see only two of us on the screen tonight. But you have myself. My name is Sarah Ozar. I'm one of the admissions counselors here at the College of Wooster, and also a student who I will let introduce himself.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Asvin. I'm a senior biochemistry molecular biology major here. I run a nonprofit organization. I also work with Apex and career planning. So I help students find mentors. I kind of help them connect with other faculty members as well. And I also, of course, work with the admissions department.
And we also have somebody with us behind the scenes tonight as well, helping us answer our questions that you may have during the presentation. We'll definitely have some time for questions at the end. So please, if anything that we say kind of brings up a question for you, feel free to put it in the question and answer box. We'd love to answer what you want to know about the College of Wooster. And somebody may be typing an answer to you, or we may answer it towards the end. So again, please let us know what you want to know about the College of Wooster. So we will get started with a few quick facts about Worcester. We are a liberal arts and sciences college with just over 2,000 students, and we're very intentional about this. We believe it's an ideal size to provide the type of residential and academic environment that best prepares you for life after graduation. And we're most proud of the diversity of our student body. We have just over a third of our students from our backyard of Ohio, and the rest are coming from across the United States and the world, from 46 different states and 65 different countries. And in fact, our applicant pool for this year's class includes students from over 135 different countries, which is a pretty impressive reach. Here you see a map of campus. We have over 240 acres that belong to the College of Wooster campus. That may sound like a lot, but no, really that the residential and academic area is about 100 acres that students use most of the time during the day, so it is very walkable. A lot of the extra acreage is over here with our athletic fields. A lot of times when families get back from the campus tour, they ask to confirm the number of students on campus because when we remind them it's around 2,000 students, they seem surprised, because they comment not only on the size and the scope of our campus grounds, but also the high level of energy that they feel when they're on campus. One of my favorite facts that I'm not sure is actually a fact, but one of the things that people say about the College of Wooster is that we have more trees on campus than we have students. So speaking of students, Asvin, how do you use the College of Wooster campus grounds?
Yeah, so this year I spend a lot of my time in my dorm room. And also at my friend's dorm room, usually just studying because that's kind of all we can do, and we have a limit on the amount of people we can spend time with, or in close contact with. So yeah, so I usually spend a lot of my time over at Carnegie, which is a really cool residential building that's kind of on the north end of campus, kind of right over there. And as a senior, I'm also doing a lot of research. So a lot of my time is also being spent at Williams Hall, which I thoroughly enjoy because it lets in a lot of light. And so it's not like I'm just trapped in a basement doing lab work, some weird mad scientist. But it really allows me to enjoy the fall colors and everything. And there's also a cafe right there. So whenever I get hungry, I'll get myself a snack, eat, and then I'll go right back to work. Because a lot of my lab stuff takes a lot of time and it's very time sensitive. So other than that, I'll spend a lot of my time over at Lowry as well. That's the main cafeteria. So I'll grab myself dinner, spend some time with friends there, eating lunch or dinner. And then when we didn't have COVID, I would spend also a lot of my time over at the Scott Center working out, playing some basketball with my friends or playing badminton in the other gyms. So there's a lot of cool things to do in there. And it just kind of sucks that you don't get to see it in person, but the building is massive and there's a lot to do.
What's your favorite thing to eat at Knowlton Commons?
And Knowlton Commons, okay, it's not actually something to eat. It's actually something to drink. They make some really, really delicious smoothies, all fresh, like fruits and stuff. So I get myself a mango, peach, and strawberry smoothie, and it's delicious.
That sounds really good. So our average class size for classes is about 18, and we are committed to providing access to our professors. Their number one priority at Worcester is offering you high-touch mentoring and excellent teaching. And your classes are very interactive and most are discussion-based. So as a student in these classes, what does it feel like to interact all the time with your professors?
Yeah, so I will say, I'll kind of speak in two different terms here. So one in terms of COVID and one in terms of not COVID. So in terms of COVID, what's been really nice is that my professors have been able to schedule meetings with us one-on-one for like an hour. So I'll sit there on Teams with my professor, just going through a paper that I've written, or he'll teach me the lesson, or I'll be able to ask questions and kind of get all of my clarity on the lesson or the week's plans. So that's really, really cool to kind of have that individualized class. And then we also do like group events, like group discussions and stuff. So for my immunology class specifically, we talk about different, well, I'm not going to go into details of everything, but we get into little groups and we discuss our projects or discuss different papers that we're reading. So it's a lot of fun. Outside of COVID, it was really nice to be able to like ask questions in class. Before coming into college, I was kind of a shy student, so I wasn't one to ask questions during class, but that's kind of what really builds this college is like everyone asks questions, it guides the lecture, and it really helps you learn what you want to learn and what you need to learn in class. And then you have the rest of the day, of course, to study other material.
Thank you. So lastly, we have no graduate programs at Worcester, and this is also very intentional. Classes are led by professors, not graduate teaching assistants. But you may hear about teaching assistants at Worcester, and it's not what you may traditionally think. Worcester teaching assistants are upper class students who serve as an apprentice for a professor, as well as a mentor to the students who are taking that professor's class. It's one of the many leadership and experiential learning opportunities available for students at Worcester. So we understand that trying to determine the differences between colleges can be overwhelming, and especially if you've narrowed it down to schools like the College of Wooster, small liberal arts colleges. So our goal today, Asmin and I want you to kind of walk away from this presentation remembering 3 things about the College of Wooster. Number 1, we are America's premier college for mentored undergraduate research. And our entire campus community benefits from our diverse student body, which is one that embraces its differences while supporting one another and celebrating traditions like no other school. And last, that we're fortunate to have a larger community in the city of Worcester around us that supports student life, service learning, and career exploration. So first of all, mentored research. We know it's common then, when you think of research, you may picture exactly what you see here in front of you, kind of a lab setting. And this actually was taken, the picture was taken at Worcester. But at Worcester, research takes on many different forms, and it's available in every single academic program. It's not only experimental, but it's analytical and it's creative. And we make sure that every Worcester student, not just those in certain majors or in honors programs, but every student completes at least one major research project prior to graduation. And in fact, it's required of all of our students in their senior year. And our curriculum and experiential learning are built intentionally to provide coursework and opportunities for students to discover and confirm what they are most passionate about. And we refer to this experience as the Senior Independent Study, or IS. And as one of our chemistry professors says, the name is probably the worst title for one of the best undergraduate experiences. Some say it should be called interdependent study because a professor serves as your advisor and supports you every step of the way. Independent study is one of 4 classes that you will take in your senior year. It's taken both the fall and the spring semester, and it is essentially a class of 1. So by the end of students' junior year, you not only have a strong sense of what you're passionate about, but you're ready to tackle a significant piece of research or creative expression within your major. And at Worcester, you're not just acquiring new knowledge, but you're creating it. And some of you may be really excited about this concept, and in fact, may be the reason why you're wanting to learn more about Worcester, and to others, it may sound overwhelming. So know that our professors have developed a 4-year plan to gradually introduce you to what research even looks like in your academic major, and to prepare you well for the project ahead. And in fact, there are opportunities within the curriculum each year to prepare you for your senior year. There are first-year seminar classes, which are classes of about 15 first-year students that are taught by a professor who also serves as your academic advisor. And this class introduces you how to best tackle and analyze text and to give you the foundation that all students need in writing. In the second year, sophomore research allows you to serve as an apprentice to a professor's ongoing research project. And in the third year, students complete junior independent study, which is a semester-long experience in your major, and many students consider this a practice run of independent study. And these are all examples of intentional ways that we prepare you for the senior capstone project over the course of your first 3 years on campus, which Asvin has somewhat recently completed. So it would be great to hear from you what research looked for you in your first 3 years, and then what are you doing this year?
Yeah, well, I could speak about my research that I'm doing this year for days because I really love it. But my sophomore year, I had a really, really cool sophomore research experience. And it's not going to be the same for everyone because my major, biochemistry, I did a lot of lab work. And so what was really cool was just being able to connect with professors, like having that small student faculty ratio allowed me to reach out to my professors and be like, hey, I heard you were hiring, can I work with you? And I worked in the chem department. I actually was in charge of my own lab work. So I collected rainwater, I analyzed rainwater, learned how to use some of these really cool machines and data equipment. So that was super nice. And I just basically learned how to handle myself in a lab and understand different chemicals. So that was super cool. And that's like really helped me this year because now I can go into the lab with full confidence, knowing where everything is, knowing what safety I need to take and precautions I need to take when handling different chemicals, and then just how to come up with questions for my IS as well throughout the process. So that was really nice. And then junior year was more specific for my major, where I had a junior independent study, where like I analyzed kind of the background of what I'm doing this year, but it's not the same for everyone. So in some departments or in some majors, you might do your own mini project where it's just start to finish and you kind of get on a smaller scale, a feel of what independent study really is going to be your senior year. But that process also included being paired up with your mentor. And being paired up with your mentor isn't like you're just assigned to somebody. It's a process where through your 4 years here, you've developed a connection with the faculty in your department. And so you kind of figure out who you really like to work with, what sort of work you want to do. And you find somebody that suits your needs, and the faculty also kind of choose you as somebody they want to mentor as well. So it's a two-way street, and that's what makes it amazing because you learn from each other, and it's not you just being taught or you just being thrown into the deep end at the swimming pool. It's definitely a learning process. And this year, what I'm doing is I'm working in the lab and I'm doing groundbreaking research on an enzyme in bacteria. So it's completely like novel and nobody really has done this stuff. So I'm coming up with a methodology for everything. And I know this might bore some of you because not everyone's into biochemistry like I am, but it's really, really cool stuff. And if all goes well, I could be a published author by the end of it, but I have a lot of work to do. So we'll see how that goes.
That's awesome. I know you can do it.
Yes, thank you.
Total faith. So Asvin, if you can remember back to your first year at Worcester, can you talk a little bit about your FYS class and what it is and how that advisor kind of helps you out until you declare your major?
Yeah, so my first year seminar class was amazing. I learned so much about the world in general. It was actually taught by one of my favorite professors, and he's actually in the poli-sci department, which is funny because I'm a biochemistry major and I don't really like writing a lot. Like I like science writing, which is not the same. But it was like ethics, justice, politics, and technology or something like that. And what I really enjoyed about that class was the way I was taught. And it was supposed to help me develop enough experience to take on college level courses. So not only did it benefit me for like college level courses, but it also helped me develop my creative writing skills. So the advisor took the time to work with us individually, scheduling meetings with us every week so that we could work on our writing. But it wasn't just writing for his class, it was writing in general and how to be a better writer for upcoming assignments in other classes as well. So that was really, really nice. But then he would also work with me, kind of give me examples on what sort of classes I could take, what sort of majors are at Worcester, because at the beginning, I was like, I like bio, I like chemistry, I also like neuroscience, I like psychology, I like all these things. What can I do? What do you think is the best track? And so just having that advisor and just like one starting point helped me connect with other advisors on campus and kind of help me figure out what I really want to do. So it's a really great process. And having that, once again, small student faculty ratio really helps with everything.
So why is all this important, and why do we spend all this time kind of talking about research at Worcester? And we know that this long-term project develops skills that graduate schools and employers are seeking the most: independent judgment, creativity, project management and time management skills, self-confidence, and strong written and oral communication skills. And it's easy for us to say that we are the country's premier college for mentored research, but it doesn't hurt when we have organizations like Gallup, Niche, the Princeton Review, and US News that endorse this fact as well. And here's one example that we do like to share. Since 2002, US News has surveyed college presidents, provosts, and deans and asked them to identify schools that set the standard for undergraduate research opportunities and the senior capstone experience. And only 2 schools have made both of the lists since the beginning of the survey: Worcester, and then some other little school located in Princeton, New Jersey as well. So at this point in the process, you've probably picked up on another theme that infuses our campus community, which is mentoring and mentorship. And Aslan and I want to take a moment to introduce you to APEX, which is our Academic and Career Advising Center. And APEX provides mentorship in a variety of ways. In addition to your academic major advisor and your IS advisor, you also have this center full of staff and faculty that you can access beginning your first year, who are there to support you on your academic journey and help you find practical ways to take what you learn in the classroom and apply it to the real world. So some of the offices that are in APEX include academic advising, the Learning Center, which is academic support, entrepreneurship, global engagement or off-campus study, experiential learning and community engagement, and career planning. And as in, I think one of the slides earlier may have showed a picture of you that was maybe related to APEX, but I know you've had a ton of different experiences with APEX. So it'd be really fun to hear about, maybe how you've used it in different ways throughout your time at Worcester.
Yeah, I am an Apex pro myself. I'm not going to brag or anything, but yeah, I've used it in a lot of different ways. So starting freshman year, I also really liked medicine, so I wanted to be on the pre-health track. And so the first time I ever used Apex was connecting with my pre-health mentor there. So she helped me figure out what classes I need, what are the requirements for med school, and kind of helped me develop my 4-year plan and a schedule. So I figured out what classes I need to have every semester in order to take the MCAT if I wanted to take a junior year, or if I wanted to take the MCAT afterwards or take a gap year. She helped me make 4 different schedules, 4 different sort of pathways of life, I guess. So that was really nice. But apart from that, what's really nice about Apex is I thought it was supposed to be scary. So the pre-health advisor portion was easy because I was kind of connected, and my FYS advisor kind of suggested I go talk to her. But the rest of it was like, do I need to have a resume? Do I need to have had job experience? Is this only a place for seniors? And no, they have walk-in Wednesdays. All their doors are open. I just went in and asked, and they literally guided me to the right person. And then they scheduled appointments with me, and they helped me develop a resume. They gave me a lot of internship opportunities. So they said, you can apply to this. We can help you apply for these things. Make sure your essays are well written. Make sure you are prepared for interviews, because I didn't really sit on many interviews in high school other than like maybe some jobs I did. But they really prepared me for professional level interviews. So that was really helpful. And now I'm working with the director of entrepreneurship, trying to figure out what I want to do next after college. But, running a nonprofit organization, so I'm always working with the director of entrepreneurship there. So I'm always doing different things. Would you like me to talk about my Apex fellowship as well?
That would be awesome if you don't mind.
Yeah, so a big part about college is doing internships. And at Worcester, we don't want you to just do internships, I guess how it works is Worcester is super supportive of us as students, because there's a lot of internship opportunities out there and a lot of them aren't paid. And so I know a lot of my friends were like, oh, I found this really cool internship, but it's not paid. So I'm going to go work instead because over the summer, it's nice to make money. I completely agree. But what's really nice is Apex actually pays you for those types of internships because they want you to have these experiences to figure out what you want to do or what you don't want to do in life. So my Apex fellowship was working at the Lutheran Hospital in Cleveland, Ohio. It was super cool. It's the only Hispanic clinic. So I was able to connect with the community there. I connected with a few different lawyers. So a legal system over there, see how it intertwined with the medical system. And I also got mentored by a director of another nonprofit organization. So it was really cool to have a trifecta sort of network of connections and also just learn a lot about the medical aspect of things. So I did a lot of cool research, but I won't go into all the details.
That's awesome. And so thinking too a little bit about, I talked during the research part that all students are doing research at Worcester. And I don't know, I mean, I know the answer to this, but, thinking a little bit about students who are doing experiential learning and internships and things like that, that there are students in all different majors and areas of study, and even before you declare your major, that you can access Apex and use that. So would you agree?
Yeah, I didn't declare my major until the end of my sophomore year. I think, in fact, I was a little bit late. Like I was like a couple weeks late from the deadline, but it all worked out in the end. So I think that's the beauty of the college is you get to kind of explore what your interests are. I've had a lot of people like that are seniors with me that said like, I was interested in psychology, but sophomore year I ended up switching to Spanish or political science. And it's like you can do that, and the college will make sure that you're on track to graduate by the end of 4 years.
That's awesome. And one more question. I know you keep putting mute, but my question is, speaking of being paid, you talked about being paid during, during your Apex fellowship, but you also mentioned sophomore research as well. And I believe that those are paid positions too. Is that correct?
Yeah, sophomore research positions are paid. You're going to work directly under a faculty member. It could be in your department. It could be in another department. Depends on what you find. But it's really cool. In some majors, you might even get a chance to go abroad and study with them and do research, like in Spain or travel, which is really, really cool. But yes, it is paid.
Yeah, thank you. So when you combine the varied experiences in Apex and our unique approach to mentored research, we have great results. 96% of our students are employed or in grad school 6 months after graduation, and 91% of students are admitted into their top choice graduate or professional school. And Worcester recognizes that an excellent education requires bringing together many perspectives and experiences and ideas. Our global community of learners are coming from small towns and big cities, from dozens of faiths and cultures and perspectives. And this is central to our mission and to the learning that happens at Worcester. 17% of our student body is made up of international students and US citizens living abroad, making Worcester Ohio's most international campus. And we rank 19th among all private liberal arts colleges in the United States for our international population. And as we know, it's now more important than ever to learn from others across the globe. And in fact, Worcester's commitment to an inclusive learning environment started at our founding in 1866, when our president declared that it should be a place of studies for all. And since then, we have remained committed to this principle of creating a diverse, equitable, welcoming, and inclusive community. And in light of recent events, our current president has reaffirmed this by stating that Worcester stands against racism in all its forms and is continuing to learn about and engage in anti-racist work to create a safer and more equitable community on campus. Our students engage in important and difficult conversations that impact our campus community, while also organizing for various social justice movements nationally. And recent examples of these include the Galpin sit-in of 2018 that you can see here, when students advocated for more support for Black students on campus, and the International Climate Strike of 2019, and when students decided to participate in an international environmental movement in response to the climate crisis emergency. So College of Wooster students aren't just coming from everywhere to attend Worcester, but Worcester students are also going to different places across the globe as well. Students are taking advantage of study away opportunities in over 60 different countries. And we refer to this as study away because many students are choosing experiences both in the States and abroad. And these can be a traditional semester experience or a year-long experience or a summer program. And a popular example of the shorter programs are our Worcester Trek programs. And these are classes that are led by Worcester faculty and vary in theme and location. And some treks are embedded in a spring semester course at Worcester, with the experience abroad taking place during a school break, like over spring break for about 2 weeks, or some are standalone courses and the entire course takes place abroad, like over the summer as well. So past programs have traveled to England, Thailand, Kenya, India, and Greece. So one thing I think that makes Worcester even more special is that you have students from all over the world who embrace each other's differences while also having an incredible sense of community and pride that you don't see at most schools our size. And I think that's because there's a lot going on. We have over 130 different student organizations that plan events for other students throughout the year. I know this year is a little bit different, so Aslan's going to be able to talk a little bit about how he got involved in the different organizations and clubs that he listed at the beginning of the presentation, but also how Worcester students are keeping the sense of community alive during COVID times, and then maybe also Aslan what you would do during the weekend during non-COVID times would be fun. And you can ask me if you need any reminders about all the questions I just asked, just let me know.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot to talk about. So I guess I could start with non-COVID time and then I'll go into what COVID time is kind of. So how did I get involved with everything? So there's this thing called Scott Spirit Day, and that's really, really nice. It's just a great way for me to it was a great way for me to just kind of put my name into different emailing groups. So I kind of got information and I figured out when meetings were. But what really makes it easy to kind of join these different organizations and groups is that everyone is welcoming. So because I run a nonprofit organization and I have a ton of different jobs, I don't have a lot of time on my hands. So what I did my freshman, sophomore, junior year was I had a lot of friends who are in these different organizations. So whenever I was free, I would just go in, sit in on their meetings, kind of participate in different discussions and things like that, or try to help with different event organization, things like that. I have a couple of friends in the International Student Association, so they do a lot of cool food activities. So honestly, I eat a lot of food. Like the Chinese Student Organization, the different organizations on campus, they do like different food events. Of course, this was before COVID, so it was easy to kind of eat food in public and not feel guilty for doing that. But yeah, it was really cool to try different tea from all across the world.
Here's one for you, the brunch.
Yeah, brunch is honestly really good. Yeah, just you guys are gonna love the food. That's all I'm gonna say. It's amazing. But a group of friends and I started our nonprofit organization, to help other nonprofit organizations kind of be more self-sustainable, but also kind of help them connect with the community better. So we decided to do this just because we saw this sort of need that some of these organizations had. Like they needed more funding, but it was like, how can we help them be more self-sustainable? And so we decided to start up an organization, and it was a slow process, but it was definitely doable because we have a lot of support on campus. So I was really happy that the college and the different deans kind of helped us figure out what we need to do for that. The director of entrepreneurship helped us, make it a nonprofit organization and actually file everything for it. So got all the taxes and everything under control. So that really helped as well. But before COVID and everything, it was really fun. Like I'd go play disc in that field right there in that picture. All my friends and I, we would just get together, and then random people would just join. Honestly, it's just a lovely campus. Yeah, it's just something that you definitely have to see on tour and visits, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to have to trust me. It's just super nice. Other than that, intramural sports is a big thing on campus as well. I haven't been a part of a lot, but my freshman year I was part of volleyball. We did terribly, but it was fun. Fun was a key thing. So yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you. And then what is your favorite social event that happens either, I don't know if it happens once a year, or like, what is it that you look forward to every year for non-COVID times? But
yeah. So my favorite event, hands down. So I'm from Worcester. I know I didn't say that in this in the beginning, but when I was a little kid, my family and I would always go to the cultural event that happens every year. It's the big culture show, and so it was so cool to see different dances from different countries, kind of see how different people celebrate their culture. And it was just a really cool way to get to know the community. Of course, I was like a little kid, but ever since coming to college, it's something that I love to go to with my friends. So that's hands down my favorite thing.
I love it too. We bring our family. So I hope my kids, hopefully they'll go to the College of Wooster too, and then they can remember the same thing. So you're in this picture. Would you mind talking? I see food too, which also sounds like one of your favorite subjects. So
Yep. I'll talk about food all day long. But this was before COVID, of course, and this was a Friendsgiving dinner that we all decided to kind of plan together. What was really nice about this was all our residence halls have these really cool formal lounges or informal lounges, kind of like this is a mix of those two. There was a projector on the other side, and it was nice to kind of watch a movie, but it was also really cool to just kind of get these tables together, sofas together, and spend time with friends. Another thing that made it possible was on campus, we have what's called the C store. And so it's just like a mini grocery store. So none of us had to actually get off of campus. Not all of us have cars. Not everyone on campus has cars. So it was really easy to go get some turkey, go get some mashed potatoes and all these things and just cook them in the kitchens in our residence halls. So that was a lot of fun.
Thank you. So one of the things about the College of Worcester that I think makes us stand out and that I love to talk about are the traditions that happen that kind of encompass the entire campus and are really big traditions for maybe a smaller size school. And this picture is one that's important to me and also fun that Aslan talked about growing up in Worcester too, because I grew up in the city of Worcester as well. It's just complete coincidence that you have both of us here tonight. And my grandparents were here in town too. So I grew up going to the College of Wooster events. And this is a picture of one of the ones that happens in the fall. And the College of Wooster bagpipe band and drum corps leads the football team down onto the field, hopefully to victory. But there's really nothing like kind of the brisk feel of fall in the air and hearing the bagpipes and the drums start up and then seeing the team just kind of rush the field. This is a tradition that I absolutely love. And also kind of along with this, we are the College of Wooster Fighting Scots. So you'll see the kilts here and the entire marching band wears like kind of the entire Scottish formal regalia when they're playing. So kilts, and you'll see the knee socks and tans and all of it. So it's a great tradition. I love just kind of the feeling I get when I hear the bagpipes, which is a very distinctive sound, I will say. And I'll let Aslan talk about the next slide, which is the filling of arch.
Okay, sorry, it didn't load for me.
Yeah, I know, sorry, I forgot.
So honestly, I love the traditions at Worcester too. It's kind of what brings everybody together. And the great thing about this is it's not just traditions for seniors. It's not just traditions for freshmen. Like everyone like just unites and just kind of gets things done. So this is one of those examples where everyone has to get things done together. And the arch, if you've ever seen it in person, is just a behemoth. It's just a massive, you could probably fit like a bus under there, honestly. But we fill it up from the front to the back to the top, all with snow. And of course, since I'm from Worcester, I could go get a shovel from my house if I wanted to, but none of us come to college prepared. So we use like a laundry basket, we use storage bins, we'll use our gloves, our hands. People dressed up with dinosaur costumes the year that I did it, and they were dancing around and having like a dinosaur fight with their little costumes. So that was kind of fun. But then what's really cool is that the college will bring us hot chocolate, and it's just a completely student organized event. So one night we all just kind of like know to go, or we'll see people starting to fill it up. And so we just all join in. It's just a chain reaction, and the college finds out that we've done it, and then they send us hot chocolate to keep us warm because it's pretty cold out there. But it is super cool. And then the next morning, it's really cool to see like the bulldozers come in and have to like dig it all out after like midday. They're still working at it. But we were supposed to get classes canceled because we do it, but that's not the tradition anymore, sadly.
I don't know. You got to keep filling it. You never know. You never know. It might someday. And I think too, don't the bagpipes show up?
Yeah, the bagpipers always show up to all the events, and honestly, everyone just loses it. It's our like mini way of concerts on campus, so it's nice.
I've never seen a group of people get as pumped up as College of Wooster students do when bagpipes play. So
we really do.
So as a student at Worcester, your home is not just the beautiful campus that we've been talking about for a while here, but also the bustling town of Worcester. And we know that many prospective students are exploring schools that are similar to us. And it's clear that sometimes schools that are similar to us aren't located in major metropolitan areas and may actually be in a pretty isolated area. So we love to talk about our city of 30,000. It provides amenities and opportunities that most larger cities provide, but still being nestled in a safe and close-knit community. We are located an hour from Cleveland, 40 minutes from Akron-Canton, and an hour and a half from the state capital of Columbus. And all of those cities also have airports that students use to get back and forth from Ohio. Students love that they take advantage of the shops and the restaurants and the movie theater on the north end of town. But also can enjoy the individually owned coffee shops and the boutique stores and local restaurants that are downtown, which you see pictured here. That's kind of the historical downtown square of Worcester. So Asvin, I know you're a Worcester native, but also a College of Wooster student. So how do you, as a student, access the city of Worcester? What do you do?
Yeah, so I am native, since I am a native, that sounds weird to say. So I have a car, so I can drive if I wanted to, but my freshman year, I actually didn't have a car. I didn't want to have a car. I just wanted to experience campus, kind of be on my own. So what I did was I just walked downtown. It's really close by, but it's not like in the college, but you know, it's close enough to walk. But we also have the Worcester Transit, so that's really easy to use to kind of get around. It's completely free with your Cow ID. But downtown, I'd spend a lot of my time at the coffee shops, just studying or catching up with friends on the weekends. So a lot of my friends I have are in the poli-sci department, so they're not in my major, so I don't really study with them, so I don't see them as often, or sometimes our schedules are off, so it's hard to see them during the days. So on the weekends, I really try to make time for my friends to catch up with them. We'll go to Tulipon, which is a Hungarian pastry and coffee shop. The people there are so nice, so they'll bring us coffee to our table, and they're a joy. So yeah.
Yeah, and those pastries also are to die for. So yes, I know too, like the soups and sandwiches. I mean, I feel like there's always something different. So Worcester is also the county seat of Wayne County, Ohio, and we are a hub for businesses, and students can easily find service and internship opportunities, whether it's in the local school district, in the county courthouse, in financial firms, or in the hospitals. And in fact, we have 2 hospitals just blocks from campus, the Worcester Community Hospital, and also within the city of Worcester, we have 2 branches of the Cleveland Clinic as well. So that's what we wanted to tell you about the College of Wooster, and we really appreciate you kind of learning more about America's premier college for mentored undergraduate research, our global thriving campus community of 2,000 students who support one another while celebrating their diversity, and our beautiful campus located in the city of Worcester that provides student life and internship opportunities that are usually only found in larger cities. So Asvin, we have a few minutes left for questions, and there's one that somebody put up here that I definitely want to give you time to answer because I think it's a really important question. So was there something in particular that made you choose Worcester over other colleges?
Yeah, so there's actually 3 things that made me choose Worcester over other colleges. I visited other schools as well. I visited bigger schools like OSU and Case Western because they have really good medical programs, and I was really into medicine. But what I didn't enjoy is not being able to talk to my professors and just kind of being a number and not like an actual person. So one of the main reasons is because of the small student to faculty ratio, and I really wanted to talk with my professors and have a really good network of connections. So when I need letters of recommendations, those are easy. They're not going to take months on end to get. They are very flexible, you know, they'll work with me whenever I need them to. The other 2 reasons is independent study and diversity on campus. I really like learning from the people around me. And it's really nice to know that most of the people on campus are international students and students from other states, not just Ohio. So only 20% of us are from Ohio. I'm one of those 20%. But it's really cool to learn from people from California and see what their lives are like, or like Oregon, and see or people who like to hike a lot or like have traveled a lot. So it's so cool to learn from different people's experiences. So those are my 3 reasons as to why I've chosen the College of Wooster. Independent study is super important to me, having that mentorship and research.
Awesome. And then another great question was, how many students are biochemistry or biology majors? Like, how many students are you graduating with? Do you know?
I actually don't know the exact number.
Yeah.
But there are quite a few biochemistry students. I believe for my year, we have a lot of biochem majors.
Mhm.
We have a lot.
Yeah, I know biochemistry and biology are two of the bigger majors on campus, but I thought it was really cool. And then you talked about a little bit earlier, even though they are the bigger majors on campus as far as numbers wise, and there are, it's interesting at Worcester because there are some majors that are bigger in numbers, but there are also some really cool majors that you might not find on a liberal arts campus, like archaeology or communication sciences and disorders. Those are two that I always like to mention. Music therapy is also kind of cool. But in those classes that you have kind of more students as far as numbers wise, you're still getting that access to professors and to labs and stuff like that. So percentage of students that live on campus. I know this is one that's kind of fun to talk about, and especially for a student who's kind of local. It's 100%. So everybody's living on campus. And I mean, were you looking forward to doing that as even somebody who lives in Worcester?
Oh yeah, I for sure. My freshman year, I totally wanted to live on campus. I wanted to fully experience College of Wooster. I mean, they gave me the option to commute, but for my 4 years here, I've spent every year here because I want to be here, and it's just so nice to be able to hang out with friends, go to different events and things like that, and just that's kind of what Worcester is. Like, we do so much on campus. It's hard to talk about everything in 40 minutes, but there's always something going on to go do. So I've never had a reason or a want to go back home, other than, of course, to visit my family and get some home cooked meals, because those are can't pass up those opportunities for sure.
And that's funny you say that because I'm watching the time here. So, just really, how about one more question for you? And that is, what is a good piece of advice for students, either who are, right kind of at the cusp of making a decision for college, or, at this time of their senior year in high school, or choosing, what's something that, as somebody who's transitioning at this point into a college life, what would you tell them?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing to remember is networking. For me, that's been the biggest thing because, as I said before, I'm shy. So it was really nice to be able to just slowly learn freshman, sophomore, junior year on how to talk to people and just connecting with different people. So it's really nice on campus. I have a ton of different mentors, and they're not in the same field. So some are in the poli-sci department, some are in the history department, some are in the biochem department, some are in the neuroscience department. So or like entrepreneurship or business. So it's really cool to learn from different people and have those connections. And the biggest thing is kind of to make those connections. What can you give? If you can remind yourself what you can give, it's, there's a really good way to form connections with that.
Awesome, thank you. And so thank you so much for joining us tonight. You can see here that we have our email addresses up here. So if you do have any questions afterwards, please feel free to get in touch with either of us. I know we would both love to talk about Worcester for hours. Also check out our visit opportunities online as well. We have a number of different virtual events that we're changing all the time and offering different ways to connect with Worcester. So thank you for taking an opportunity of this event. We really loved talking about Worcester, and we'll let Anna kind of finish up as well.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining us. When you go to close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 4-question survey, and we'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. Also, this was just one of many sessions being hosted, so be sure to sign up for additional sessions. In about a week, you'll be able to find this session's recording, as well as all of the other sessions recordings at the same website where you registered. Thank you all. Bye now.
Thank you. Good night.